What is going on, everybody? It's been a while. Fat Joe here with Fat Joe Customs. So, what you see here is the obvious. Wheels coming off of the brand new 2024 Zuma 125 with only 120 miles on it. Being in New York City, I'm not very fond of the knobbies. Just too much vibration in the ride. So I bought a brand new pair of City Grip 2s that I'm going to be installing. So this video is really just to go over how to take this thing apart, get your wheels apart. And boy, the front wasn't bad. The back was a little scary, not going to lie. But I do this often on different bikes, so I figured if I just show this as best as possible, and also go over the headlight the headlight removal from my previous video. But the first thing to get the front wheel off, you're going to take off your two 12mm bolts here for your caliper, okay? And you're going to loosen these two bolts for this bracket for your speed sensor. There's also one 10mm nut, okay, that goes onto your front fork that holds your ABS sensor in. Now I have the ABS sensor in this glove so it stays clean while the bike is sitting. Okay, so 1, 2, your 10mm for your speed sensor. Pull the speed sensor out, cover that up, and you're gonna have to just finagle the caliper off from the rotor. It might look like it's hard, but it's not. You just got to finagle it off. Then next you're going to do is you have your solid end axle bolt on this side, and you have the nut on this side. You'll crack this nut off, and of course you're going to have to do this on a center stand, guys. Now I'm doing this off of my phone, so I'm sorry that the video quality and zooming and everything isn't professional, but I'm working with what I got. All right, got the big toy here. So anyway, you take the nut off and have something on the floor, or if you have something that you can suspend it up in the air. I don't. So I have two blocks that I'm going to put the forks on. You can do this by yourself. It will help if you have a second person. They could push down the weight of the back of the bike to keep the front off. And basically what you're going to do is you're just going to wiggle the axle out. The wheel's going to come free. You move the wheel out of the way, put the front down on the whatever you have to set it on, and then I just put all the hardware back and where it's supposed to be, just so I know where everything is. So I put the caliper bolts there. I'm going to obviously hang the caliper back up on the fork when I'm done here. And then that's the front wheel. So I'm giving this to the powder coater. So he's going to take off the ABS ring, the rotor. He's going to do everything, mount the new tires. So that's as far as I have to go for that. Now, the rear of the bike. This was I was a little worried about this, I'm not going to lie. It was looking a little intimidating, but after really looking into it and just taking a breather, I'm just giving you guys a little zoom in on what it looks like, obviously, with the wheel off. Like I said, it's brand new, so it's still clean. But first things first, your little cooler cover, okay, is 8mm right there. So this sits on here like so. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Cover comes off. I put the bolts right back in their spots so they know where they are. Okay, so pull that cover off. Yes, I have the graphics kit on here also, and I have my seat custom done. So now that that's off, what I did was the first thing I did, a lot of guys were saying you can take the exhaust off from here and just loosen the head bolts. It makes life a lot easier just to take the whole exhaust off. I disconnected the sensor instead of pulling the O2 sensor off the pipe. If you look right about there, that's the connector for the O2 sensor. There's just a little clip. I have it. Sorry, this isn't the best video, but I'm trying, guys. Little clip you push in, pull it apart, and then I just pulled it down just to the last spot that it's on right there. That's good enough. You go underneath, and you have your two 12mm head bolts. And just watch when the exhaust comes off. I tape the gasket to it as well. Then you're going to come over here. You're going to have three 15mm bolts holding the can on the back. Once those come off, your exhaust is going to, drop down. Keep your foot under there, whatever you want to do. And then what I did was I just spun it, laid it on a mat, and just laid it off to the side. You have plenty of room, there's no issues. So next is the fender and the shock. So your shock bolt, just the bottom. You don't have to take the whole seat apart and loosen this, pull it out. This comes up. So here, I'll show you real quick. I just put everything back together, but see, this comes up just enough where you can get it out of the way. So once that's done, you're going to take your fender off. You've got 4 bolts for your fender. 1, 2, 3, and there's one under the air box right here. You grab it from the other side, the outside. 4. And you could finagle your fender out, which you can see up there. This part might give you a little issue because it's, you got to slide it out, but you could finagle it. It'll come right off. You don't have to take the air box off or anything like that. So, after that, you have your 2 caliber bolts. Those are 12s. 1, 2. Take those out. The caliper is going to slide off. Now you don't have to take the line off because as long as you take the swing, when the swing arm comes off, you could just sort of move the whole swing arm over. All right. So now the swing arm is held on by an axle nut, which is right down there, and 2 15mm. 1 and 2. So you're going to take the 2 15s off first, and then you're going to need it for your axle nut. Good old snap-on 20, I don't know if you could see it, 24 mil. I used an impact gun because, or you can leave your caliper on first. All right, once you leave the caliper on, you can have somebody hold the brake while you could break it loose with a wrench. I wasn't thinking about it, so I just turned on the old compressor, gave it 2 ooga doogas, and it came right off. So your 24 mil comes off. Okay. Now your whole swing arm will be free. Literally, you're going to bend the shock up like I just showed you, and your swing arm's just going to come off. And then what I did was I just let it rest to the side. You're not putting too much tension on the line. You could leave the whole brake line just how it is. You're not putting tension on it. It'll be okay. Behind here, once you pull that off, is a little sleeve. Okay, you'll pull that off, and then the wheel literally just slides right off. Done. And then if you're leaving it for a day or so, I put everything back to where it is. So I put the little spacer back, put the swing arm on, axle nut, 2 swing arm bolts, and I just put all the bolts back where it is. I think I'm going to leave the fender off because I am powder coating the wheels. So you'll be able to see it more. Plus, I cut this ugly stock piece. This will give me all the protection I need from any mud or rain or dirt, which I don't really ride much in anyway. And yeah, so for anybody looking to do their wheels and you don't want to bring it to the dealership, it's doable as long as you have some tools. You need a 10 millimeter socket, 12 millimeter socket, 15 millimeter socket, and a 24 millimeter socket. And you know, the front axle was actually 9/16, I believe. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. Yes, the front bolt and nut, surprisingly, were the same. So you have one on each side and spin them loose. And that's it. I'm going to take the levers off next because those are going to get powder coated also. And that's really it, man. Also, on the last video I did, I showed that I'd taken the front end apart after the fact. And a lot of guys were wondering if all that was necessary to do the headlights. So I found a new way. And basically, it's taking the 2 bolts off the top, right? 1, 2, cover peels off. 1, 2, and then 2 on the other side. And then underneath, let me see if I can feel it. Somewhere under there, right there, are 2 Phillips. And I believe there's 2 push clips under here too somewhere. I just don't remember where. I have to go back on the old video and look. Once you do that, and you're looking on the inside, there's 2 bolts for the actual headlight inside. There is that video, I think it's in Taiwan or Chinese, where they show, oh, it just rips right off. It does rip off, it just pulls out from here. So this whole thing pulls out from here. The problem, not a problem, but the difficult thing is putting it back together because it's all the tabs. It's literally all tabs. So you just have to make sure that every tab pops back in. Oh, and don't forget these little Phillips, I'm sorry. 1 on each side. So 1, 2, 3, the 2 up top, and the 2 Phillips underneath, and I think there's 2 pop clips under there, if I remember correctly. And this whole thing, you just get a good handle, good grip on it, and don't forget the 2 underneath for the headlight, the 2 10 mil I think they are, or 12s. And this whole thing just rips out. Don't be scared. You know, it's going to take some force, especially if it's never been taken apart before. So you'll pull all that out, and you'll have direct access to your headlights. It's a lot easier than my first video. If you're not comfortable with doing that, then follow my first video. It's a little more intense and in-depth. But this way was definitely easier. It's just putting it all back together and getting all the tabs. I started from the bottom and just angled it, and you just sort of get the tabs going. You pop them in on both sides, pop them in, and you just got to keep working at it. You can't get mad at it because you don't want to break a tab either. All right, but anyway, that's it. If you guys have any questions, I try to get back to you guys. I'm very new to this YouTube thing. I'm a big Instagram guy, so if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's PHAT_JOE. And, I could answer your questions a lot faster through there because, like I said, I'm just starting to get used to this whole YouTube thing. I'm learning from a good friend of mine and co-worker. His name's Steve. His Instagram is TTA50, I think it is. Does a lot of Harley videos he's working on right now, Ducati, Aprilia, stuff like that. So he's teaching me the way, and also touring on 2 wheels. My buddy Chris, Gatsby Auto Group, is also teaching me. So I'm learning. I'm going to move up to my GoPro soon once I start figuring it out. But this is it, guys. If you want to remove the front and rear wheels off of your Gen 3 Zuma 125, this is everything you have to do. And yeah, so until the next one, I'll post a video updated once I get everything back from powder coat. And until the next one, guys, have a good day.